Hello, witches! It is Wednesday. It is time for the Witches Movie Coven. So grab your goat. Well, this is my substitute goat for tonight. The one and only Willow is playing Black Phillip because she can. And my name is Patti Negri. I'm one of your hosts. You might know me from The Witching Hour, from Ghost Adventures, from Bathroom Walls Across America. I mean posters. Don't get your mind there. But I am not in my usual. I am in a Airbnb apartment right now, so I'm going to go light tonight because I've been moving boxes all day and tagging things all day, and I'm not going to go into it. But I'm going to pass you on to my beautiful co-host, sharing hosting duties tonight. I'm going to pass it over to Richard-Lael Lillard.
Hello, that is me. Richard-Lael is one name, not two. If I were just Richard, I would be a. I am known as the gentleman psychic. I'm a psychic and a medium. I used to be a psychic and a small, but I gained a lot of weight. Anyway, unlike other psychics who are all doom and gloom and love and light, I'm a happy medium. Also, make certain that you are hitting the like, the subscribe, comment in the section. We love when you chat. We will see it and we will try to respond when we can. You can also go over here to Mystery Control and you can find merchandise. So you want to go over there. And if you want a book by Jason Mankey, there are 10 of them he's written.
I'm Jason Mankey. I may or may not have written 10 books. Glad to be back.
We missed you, Jason. We missed you, Jason, so much. Thank you. Well, thank you, Richard-Lael. Thank you, Jason. And of course, we can never leave out the wonderful, educated, and oh so smart on these things, Heather Greene.
Oh, I thought Jason was going to continue with his
He gave up on us. No, he stopped.
Done.
That was it. Okay. Well,
no.
I am Heather Greene, and I've only written one book, but I have worked with many, many other authors who have written many other books, and one of them is Dollcraft, written by the beautiful and equally as smart and powerful witch, Patti Negri. I think I have that right here, actually, Patti. I know you probably don't because you.
I don't.
There it is. And I also wrote Lights, Camera, Witchcraft, a critical history of witches in American film and television, everything about witches in television. I'm also, as I said, an editor. I work with many authors like Jason and Patti. And I am also a journalist covering occult topics in the mainstream media. And I'm super excited to be here for this Muppetational edition of the Coven meeting.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Muppetational. Now, sad to say, we do not have Courtney with us tonight. We send her love. We send her magic. We send her Muppets. But lucky us, we have two fill-ins for Courtney. So let's start out first with the lovely Tabitha Meadows.
Hi, everybody. I am Tabitha Meadows. I am a medium and psychic. I have not written not one book yet. I am so happy to be here with y'all during the season of the witch. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. And the wonderful screenwriter, movie director, video director, everything else, Scarlett Amaris. Welcome, Scarlett.
Thank you. I've only written 3 books and 2 anthologies, so I guess that sort of counts. But yeah, I'm mainly a screen and television writer, also a music video director, and I lecture on mythology and witchcraft. And I'm thrilled to be here, so thank you for having me again.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on. This is a beautiful group right here. We miss you, Courtney. We love you, Courtney, but we are here, and I'm going to pull back. This week's movie is Muppets Haunted Mansion. Now, I hope you guys all watched it. I couldn't. I tried desperately, but at my Airbnb apartment, they kept thinking I was the guest before and wouldn't let me on. But that's okay. They wouldn't let me on the Yankee game either. For my but he's on his little bitty phone. Anyway, thus I digress. Hopefully you watched it, but just in case you didn't watch it, and for my sake as well, Richard-Lael, do you have your beautiful, always thorough, unbiased synopsis of this film?
I certainly do. Okay. So I love a good Muppets movie. I love a good haunted house movie. If you're looking for either of those things, this is not that film.
Unbiased.
Okay, so in a very CGI book, because budgets, as if Disney didn't have any money, Disney decided to animate Gonzo and Pepe the King Prawn in a hearse going to the Haunted Mansion, which for whatever reason takes place in Los Angeles at this point, from what it looked like, I guess. Anyway, they go to this Haunted Mansion and Will Arnett plays the ghost host, and then they go through what is basically the ride of the mansion. That's about it. They escape by dawn. Woo, that's about it. That's literally it. It's just the ride. It's just the ride to the Haunted Mansion.
With songs?
There are songs, yes. There are songs, and Fozzie does that head in a box trick. I mean, I don't do head in a box. I normally do never mind. Jason remembers.
Thank you very much. Now that we completely understand the movie, especially if anybody hasn't been to the Haunted Mansion ride, maybe, just maybe, and I have a feeling she's going to know a lot about this film. Passing it back to Heather Greene.
Okay, I'm gonna move my black Phillip here to get some notes. So yeah, this is kind of an interesting one because it's a little deviation from what we normally do. So let me give you some information about this. I'm going to just give you briefly the movie itself, which was a Halloween special in 2021. I know where we are. It was actually, when it was released, the 6th most streamed video of that particular season, that particular day, in fact. So it was popular when it came out in 2021. Again, this is a Halloween special. This is not a movie. It was only about an hour long. And it was conceived for many, many years before. In fact, Guillermo del Toro was first brought on to possibly do this. They wanted to do this movie, but he gave up. He was disconnected with the project, and we have now. Let me see who the director. I have it written down somewhere. Blah blah blah. I've lost my note on that one, but it doesn't matter. So the director here, we have a lovely little haunted mansion movie for Halloween to celebrate the holidays with, of course, the Muppets. And like Richard-Lael says, this is definitely a parody and a runs parallel to the ride itself. And we'll get to that in a second. So let's talk about the people in this. Of course, you have a lot of famous actors. You have Rolf and Kermit and Piggy. The Electric Mayhem make an appearance. You have Gonzo, Scooter, Sweetums, Stadler and Waldorf, Fozzie, Pepe, and the Grand Prawn, and the Rats, and a number of other very famous actors. So I'm not sure if you guys all noticed how strong this cast really is. Of course, backing them up is Matt Vogel, John Stamos, the famous person, Ed Asner, Pat Sajak. I didn't even know Pat Sajak was still alive. Danny Trejo, Alfonso Ribeiro, and if you recognized Alfonso, he was from Silver Spoons. I think some of us might remember that TV show. Yvette Nicole Brown, she was an Avenger. I'm going to hold this up here. Now, one interesting character in here was Shashir Zamata. She was in Agatha. We noticed her. She was Jennifer. Darren Criss, of course, was made famous by his music in Glee. And he was the singer at the beginning, the very first song. You have Craig Robinson from The Office. You have Taraji Henson from Hidden Figures. Will Arnett, of course, was already mentioned. So you get a ton of creatures from the Muppets. You get a ton of different famous faces. And this is very typical for a Muppets movie. This is what they do best, is mixing famous faces with the Muppet figures. Of course, the most famous, of course, Kermit himself. We have to let him know. Now, let's talk about this ride. Well, this is based on a ride. I don't know how many people here live here with us tonight have been on the ride. I have been on 2 versions of the ride. I've been in both the Hollywood one and the Florida version, they are slightly different. So I'd like to talk about the rides. I grew up going to Disneyland and eventually Disney World from a time I was very small. So the original Haunted Mansion ride was set up in New Orleans Square, Disneyland. That's in California, the original park. It opened in 1969. Again, it had a New Orleans flair because it was New Orleans Square. So that's the one I originally was familiar with. Then when Disney World opened, they brought in Magic Kingdom. Disney World is a little different if you haven't been there than Disneyland. They opened the haunted house, and that was based on, they changed the design to be based on the Sleepy Hollow aesthetic. So it has a much different outer appearance. In fact, the first time I saw it, I was shocked and didn't think it was actually the Haunted Mansion, but it is. It's a little different than the original. Inside is more or less the same. That opened, let me see, in 1971. So it's slightly later. Then, of course, you have one in the next one was opened in Disney Tokyo. And that one is a slightly different, more based on Florida, but that opened in 1983. And they say, when I was researching it, because I haven't been to that one yet, it has a Dutch Gothic feel, but is more based on Florida. I bet Richard-Lael might be able to tell us exactly what that might mean. Paris opened in 1993, and they did a Phantom Manor. Slightly different, but still there. And then in Hong Kong, Disneyland opened another one. It doesn't have the track ride. It just does a walkthrough. And that one opened in 2013. Very, very different. Has a Chinese spirit. So there's slightly different, but they're popular enough that this ride has perpetuated. And if you have been on the ride, you can see that this movie actually uses language from the ride, actually uses visuals from the ride. The whole opening where they walk in and he says that the paintings are stretching and how are you going to get out? That's directly from the ride. If you've ever been in the ride, there you go. Those are paintings actually in the ride. And when you get into that elevator, the paintings actually do expand. It is a parody of that experience right there. And if you've been on the ride, they are actually mocking it. So that's that. So now let's talk a little bit more about this Haunted Mansion. So the Haunted Mansion is such a popular ride and such an icon of the Disneyland parks that this is not actually the first movie based on the Haunted Mansion. So, wow, like a ride in a park has created enough cultural fodder to produce other movies. The first one being in 2003 was a movie called The Haunted Mansion with Eddie Murphy. I'm not sure if anybody has seen it, but apparently has a cult following. It was very popular. I have not seen it. It also had Wallace Shawn in. If you don't know Wallace Shawn, he was in Princess Bride.
Inconceivable.
Thank you. That's what I was going to say. He is brilliant in that movie. And he is in the 2003 Haunted Mansion movie with Eddie Murphy. Although it was not necessarily an award-winning movie and it got a cult following, it has made enough money for them to do a remake of the Haunted Mansion movie. Surprise, surprise, in 2023. That's the 2003. They remade the movie with Jared Leto, Lakeith Stanfield, Owen Wilson. I'm reading off the names. It was directed by Justin Simeon. And I'm sorry, that was the one that was actually Del Toro was going to be part of, not this one. I'm sorry. I made a mistake on which one he was part of. So they remade the movie. So this is 3 movies based on Disney's ride. So that tells you that everybody must tomorrow buy tickets to Disneyland and go on this ride because it's produced 3 movies. It must be really that good. Just kidding. I have stories I could possibly tell later about my experiences on this ride because I've got a couple cute stories. Now, what is this? This is a Halloween special. So I think this is a kind of a neat time to just for us to think back about other Halloween specials. The Muppets have done other ones. Halloween specials have been happening since silent era. You have silent although Halloween wasn't celebrated at the early part of the 20th century the way we do now, it's kind of evolved. But you did have Betty Boop Halloween specials. You did have Felix the Cat Halloween specials. And most of the witch representations that happened in cartoons at the time were Halloween specials with pumpkins and dancing skeletons and whatnot. Disney did ones early before they started doing even their feature films. Now, we all have our favorites, and some of them, I'm just going to name a few Halloween specials off. Maybe that'll trigger some good memories for you guys, and you guys can share your favorite Halloween specials that have happened over the years. Of course, probably the most nostalgic for people of my generation would be, of course, the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown. That one is actually airing right now. I just saw it, and you can watch it. Of course, that was a standby. You always watch that movie at this time. You had an interesting one from the 70s, the Halloween that almost wasn't. And that is a feminist one. That one is a film about how the witch is the one who flies across the moon to bring Halloween on. And when she decides that she's being overcast by all of the men monsters, she decides she's not going to fly that year. So they have to convince the witch, the only female monster, to fly across the room to bring Halloween on. So it's a really kind of has a feminist twist, and it's a Halloween special. Of course, the Treehouse of Horrors by The Simpsons. That's always fun. Love The Simpsons. And if you were an 80s kid and you were watching cartoons, you had things like the Halloween Smurf special called All Hallows Eve. Witchcraft, anybody? Of course, Disney's Halloween Treat. And let's see, Great Bear Scare. I don't know if anyone remembers that from the 80s. 70s adults watched Paul Lynde's Halloween special with Margaret Hamilton. Kind of fun. And I think that's all the ones I have on my list. Of course, there was a lot of the cartoons would do Halloween specials in the 70s, 80s, 90s. You'd always have some kind of twist on the cartoon with a pumpkin and a witch. And a lot of the witchcraft cartoons and a lot of the witchcraft stuff we see are ones that were just simply Halloween specials. So I don't know. Does anybody have any Halloween specials that they want to share?
Scared Shrekless is very good. All of the Shrek holiday specials, for some reason or another, turned out really well. And they're only 22 minutes long. So if you don't like them, they're done very quickly.
I always loved the Monster Mash. That was always shown around Halloween.
I don't think it's
I liked Will Vinton's Claymation Halloween, and then the 1970, I think it was 74, Halloween with the Addams Family. Of course, when Jason imitates me, he's gonna bring up the Addams Family every time.
Oh, I can't wait. I cannot wait for your next night off.
You're doomed, Richard-Lael.
Yeah. Plans are percolating. I'm even going to grow a mustache, but we won't get into that tonight.
Shave your head, but don't shave your head.
I like the Legend of Sleepy Hollow.
Mm-hmm.
There was a Garfield one that often aired after Peanuts things, or after It's a Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. It was so scary, they pulled it off the air, which is why you can't find it anymore. It was a little too intense for kids.
Scary Garfield?
Yeah. I know. Isn't that hard to believe? I mean, usually it's just about overeating lasagna and how much he hates Mondays.
Now, Jason, you remember the Super Friends cartoon? I know you and I are of the same age. You remember the Super Friends cartoon?
Oh, yes.
They had a special Halloween episode of that one, in fact. And I can't remember the name of it right now, but it's in my book. It's in the list of my books. I have to look it up. But they actually had one too. I don't know if you remember it.
The Sesame Street Halloween with Margaret Hamilton was really good.
Also,
and it was
scary.
just re-released. They finally let it out of the coffin after all these years. BJ and the Bear. Oh my God. I don't know. That's our host that just put, I'm just going to say a day that BJ and the Bear is mentioned is always a good day. There is actually, I'm going to mention this real quick and then I'll pass it over to the next person. But BJ and the Bear was a TV show back in the early 80s. and they did an episode with a witch, and the witch
What?
is, oh, I don't know. I'm confused now. Which witch?
Which witch?
Not a sandwich. And she was an herbalist in this TV episode. She's she's an herbalist who tries to convince BJ, because Bear's the monkey. So BJ, that witches are all good and witches aren't bad. And then the townspeople get really upset, and he tries to protect her, and they wind up burning her house down, and she disappears. I can't remember, but there it is. There's BJ and the bear. So it is one of the very few episodes during that period of time which actually project a positive view of witches and witchcraft. There's no Satanism. There's no negativity. There she is. That's the witch. She's
But the question is, Heather, were they ancient French Wiccans?
No, they were not ancient French Wiccans. They weren't Satanists. They didn't have any pacts with the devil. They didn't sign books. They didn't have any. She was just an herbalist, and she tries to convince him that's what witchcraft is. It is a very unusual take, and BJ and the Bear did that.
And that lady turns up again on the cover of Scott Cunningham's The Truth About Witchcraft Today, holding a clutch. If you've ever seen the original cover to that book,
with the black suit, the blazer, and the yes, I've got
Patti knows it.
The redo. That's the redone cover, isn't it?
That's the redone.
This
was like the 80s.
Yeah, that was the 80s.
Was that the first cover? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was the redo. Either way, BJ is the driver and Bear is the monkey. And if you haven't seen that episode, it's really fascinating. Anyway, Halloween episodes. This was one of those, a modern one, 2021. And what do you think about it?
Who wants to go first, Tabitha?
Well, I, for one, didn't mind it. I think it's the best 50 minutes that I didn't know I needed. It was so funny to me anyway. I had lots of I laughed. I cried a little because it was funny. It was super entertaining, and a lot of things are so serious right now, and a little too seriously scary. And that 50-minute getaway today was definitely what I needed. I appreciate that they had Pepe and Gonzo as the highlight characters, and I love the fact that their challenge was to go and spend the night in a haunted mansion. As a person who has done that a few times, hardly a challenge anymore. I used to be afraid of things when I was younger, not so much anymore, but there was definitely one of the scenes that I appreciated the most when Gonzo and Pepe were standing in, there was this purple room that they were in the labyrinth of the mansion. There was a clock in the back, so it was kind of like a wild time slip, because Pepe is like, I'm getting out of here, and he like kept running off screen, and then he'd come back on, and then he'd run off, and then he'd come back on, and he just finally figured it out that he was coming back to the same place, and then he wasn't going to get out. And what was really cool was on the clock in the back, the grandfather clock was running backwards in time. So I thought that was very cool. But I loved all of the horribly great puns spooky puns that they used throughout the movie. I even loved the songs and all of the dances. And I do appreciate the fact that at the beginning they were explaining all the jokes, and then there was one part where he comes in and says, okay, we're not going to explain the jokes the whole time. And I was like, oh, thank God, because gods, that might have been a different kind of movie for me. But but overall, I didn't mind it. I liked it. It was good.
Thank you. Anybody else want to volunteer to go next?
I'll go.
Hey.
I thought it was cute, you know, in that sentimental Muppets kind of way, but I thought the story was really weak. In fact, the story was non-existent, and it's too bad because like that haunted house tranche is such a fascinating premise, and you know, you have this like, what was it, House on Haunted Hill or Hill House premise of like going in for the night and what could happen. And I know they have to follow the ride, and they do a really good job of that, but the story itself, it's a little weak. There's not much to it in this whole like Gonzo facing his fear. Like there isn't really much of a battle for him to face his fear. And it's cute, and I understand kind of like the age bracket that they're going for. I wish that there had been a little bit more of a story. Like I wish that I was entertained and like in that cute nostalgic way, but I just wanted to care a little bit more. That was my take on it.
Well, do you think just because it's the Haunted Mansion, they have to completely follow the ride? I mean,
well,
reality takes like,
yeah, I kind of wish that they had deviated maybe just a little. I mean, they did. You could see where it was like, oh, here's the moral of the story, which is Gonzo's going to face his fears, and like his fear is really not that big of a deal, and you know, and then he's going to be able to face his friends and blah blah blah. But yeah, I wish it had deviated slightly. I just like wish that there was a little bit more of the story. Although I did really love the end when he had the Phantom hitchhikers with him. Because when I was a kid on that ride, when you would sit on the ride and you'd look over and you'd see the Phantom hitchhikers like sitting on your lap, I would like lose my mind. So just that little like coda on the end, I thought was really cute. Like that was really fun.
That was my favorite part of the ride too, was the Phantom hitchhikers. I don't know. Yeah, that was good.
So you would like this. They have this, like they appear at the end of the movie, and it's like, yeah, that was a fun movie, or a fun memory to bring back.
Thank you.
Jason Mankey.
So I'm going to admit something. I love Pepe the King Prawn. Pepe is one of my favorite Muppets, and that's surprising because Pepe is a late Muppet, and he doesn't show up in the Muppets canon until 1996, where he's in the short-lived Muppet show, Muppets Tonight. I really like the Muppets, and I don't even have to look this stuff up on Wikipedia. I love the Muppets. So the fact that I got a movie with Pepe, or at least a short film with Pepe in a big role, was pretty nice for me personally, because he's one of my favorite Muppets. But Scarlett's right. There's barely any story here. It's kind of fun. They do follow the ride way too closely. I kind of got whisked back to my one trip to Walt Disney World way back in the late 1980s and kind of got to relive that through the film, which wasn't really necessary. I just wish there had been more meat on the bones of this film. I mean, you had some really great actors in it. Like Will Arnett is fabulous. They don't really explore the fact that he's the dead magician from 100 years ago very much. It's just sort of a shrug your shoulders at the end of things. Yvette Nicole Brown, who was on Community, and I love in everything she's ever been in. She's on screen for 3 minutes driving Gonzo and Pepe to and from the mansion. I mean, John Stamos, barely is on screen. There's so much more they could have done with some of these actors, and they could have fleshed the whole thing out. But it's a fun little trifling time, and you get to spend some time with the greatest puppet prawn ever created in Pepe, and the only one, sure, but still the greatest.
Thank you. I'm almost feeling like I saw the film. Who wants to go next?
I'll go next.
Yes, please.
I will go next. I love the concept of the Haunted Mansion, and to Heather Greene's context of what architecture styles. So the original Haunted Mansion, even though it's in New Orleans Square, if memory serves, the house was actually in South Carolina. It's plantation style. It's been demolished a long time ago, but it was patterned after that. The Dutch one in Florida is actually there's two things about the Dutch one. There's the Dutch influence with part of the the facade, but it's also slightly based off of the Harry Packer Mansion in Pennsylvania, which is Second Empire. It has sort of a weird tower off to the side. The French one, the Euro Disney, is Second Empire, which is like the Bates Mansion, the Addams Family Mansion, typical scary haunted house. I don't remember the ones in is it China?
China looks like a China. It has that architecture from that part of the world.
That doesn't surprise me. So as far as the architecture goes, love architecture. I love haunted houses. I live in one. I always do. I can't help it. And also, if someone were to tell me, "Hey, spend the night in this haunted mansion and you never have to leave," are you kidding me? Sign me up for that all day long. Sign me up for that. I don't have to pay rent, and I get to live in this beautiful house forever. Great. That's perfect. There was no meat on the bones at all. What I will say, though, is that I did not like Will Arnett, because I was on many times, like 6 times, I did background for Arrested Development. And on this particular time, I was fairly new to Los Angeles. And we had filmed a scene at a nightclub in Hollywood, and Will Arnett was playing, of course, the magician. And there was this pigeon on a plate that he had to appear, and he was afraid to handle the pigeon because of germs. Like, I'm sure the pigeon is not dirty. Anyway, so we go to our cars, and David Cross comes out and he says, he's walking with Will. And he says, "You are so lovely. You were so professional. I so appreciate you. You really did a great job. Thank you so much." And then, of course, I worked with David Cross several times. But Will Arnett goes,
"Is Richard-Lael okay?"
That was my impersonation of Will Arnett.
But what does that mean?
I don't know. He just sort of snarled at me. So I don't know. It was all polluted by the fact that Will Arnett snarled at me one time after a shoot of Arrested Development.
Mm-hmm.
Did I like it? No, I didn't like it. I love haunted mansions. I love. In fact, I do have a haunted mansion story, but I've never been to the haunted mansion. I've been to Disneyland one time, just inside the gate at the House of Blues one time when I lived in LA. One time. However, I've always been obsessed with haunted mansions, and growing up, we went to what is it called? Silver Dollar City, which is sort of a hillbilly knockoff of Disneyland, but it's like sort of barefoot, like and they did not have a haunted mansion. They had Grandpa's house, and I kind of liked it. They had one room, I remember, that you couldn't go in it, but the room was upside down and the chandelier was from the floor. And I said, one day I'm going to have a house that does that. I don't. It's ridiculous. I don't want it now, but I wanted one when I was 6.
Thank you.
That's what I have on that.
I'm so sorry about your Will Arnett experience, because now that's going to cloud my future interactions with Will Arnett.
That's true.
But maybe,
and he's the voice of Lego Batman, so that's going to be tough
I had hoped. I had hoped that he would have been nice and that I could have really but I wasn't that I'm furniture. I get it. When you're background, you're basically furniture, and I'm fine with that. It's fine. Just don't snarl at me,
Right. But Richard-Lael, think about this. What if he just had indigestion?
That is possible.
What if he just had a little tummy ache that moment? He had some gas. It wasn't about you at all. You could change the whole story, and
that is likely true.
Bad.
That is likely true. It was probably that Will Arnett had gas. I'm just going to say it that way.
It has nothing to do with you. He looks a little gassy.
Very gassy.
All right.
I will tell you though a funny story about Arrested Development that got me moved. So we were my friend and I, Melissa and I were called in to do background, and they were doing the Cinco de Cuatro, which was the episode where they didn't want to have Cinco de Mayo, so they had the Cinco de Cuatro, and we were down in Long Beach, and they put us together, Melissa and I, and we're together, and I turn around, and 6 feet from me is Liza Minnelli, and I go, that's Liza Minnelli. That's Liza. And then I was like, okay, calm down. Don't fangirl over Liza Minnelli. It's not that big of a deal. And then I calmed down. And then the PA came over and was like, okay, you, we need to fill in way back in the background, way over there.
In Nebraska.
So that was my Liza Minnelli. That was as close as I got to greatness.
Oh.
Until the show, when you got to be close to all of us.
That's true. That's
Yes.
true. That is absolutely true.
I have written 10 books, as you well know.
You are a brilliant impersonator, Richard-Lael. We've seen you with many, so there you go. All right, thank you for that. Let's move on to Heather Greene.
Okay, well, like Jason, I'm a major Muppet fan. I have gone to the museum here in Atlanta, the Puppetry Arts Center, which has a Jim Henson section. And I literally walked in the minute I saw Ernie and Bert and the Fraggles and the Doozers, I started bawling. This was my childhood. My parents, if I was acting bad, they would punish me from watching the Muppet Show. The only Christmas special that I actively looked forward to watching was Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. Everything. I mean, look, this mug right here I'm holding, I brought for just this special occasion. I've had since I was a child. The Muppets were my life. Jim Henson was everything about my childhood. That's all you need to know about me is I love the Muppets. And as many of you know who watch this, I am not a big fan of recent Muppet movies. I did not like the Muppets Wizard of Oz. I am not a big fan of what they do with longer movies. I think the Muppets, although, okay, with that said, I love the Muppet movie and the Muppet Caper. Okay, but with that said, recent ones I could do without. Okay,
The Muppets is a good movie. How can you not like?
I love the Muppet movie.
Not the
And the
original
Dark
Muppet
Crystal.
movie, but the one that came out in 2011.
Okay, I'll revisit them just for you, Jason. But I'm telling you, I struggle with them, and I think that they do really well when there's less structure, when the movies are a little more chaotic and allow the Muppets to really live that chaos. I do agree that they stuck to the. I dreaded watching this one, honestly, and I do agree that they stuck to the actual ride a little bit too closely, but I think it lended itself to some degree to the fun and frivolity and the chaos that the Muppets really embody. So this was more like, for me, I began to not care. I actually literally have no idea what the plot was. And all I did was just enjoy watching the Muppets do their chaos. And that to me was fun. And I laughed. That scene that just showed up there, the actual bride scene, was my favorite. I love just the random comments. I love Pepe. I agree with you, Jason. He's one of the best characters. Absolutely hysterical. Laugh out loud. Gonzo, all of them. I went to when I went to sleepaway camp when I was 9 years old, to make me feel better, because I was going 8 weeks to a sleepaway camp by myself, no friends or anything. My parents sent me. My dad is an artist, and he drew Sweetums and Robin on the big duffel bag and that I pack my clothes in to make me feel better because I love the Muppets so much. So I love seeing Sweetums. I love seeing them. So I frankly did not care that there was no blood, which there really wasn't. And I didn't care. I thought the music was fun. I thought watching the characters do their bizarrity things and just trample around was fun. I thought the throwbacks to the ride just brought back so many memories that I just had fun with it, and I literally don't care if there's a story. So I was okay with this one. I didn't mind it, like Tabitha said. It was just kind of you dive into the chaos and enjoy what it is, and then you move on. It was an hour. Now, if it had been 2 hours and it had been tried to be a movie, I would have had issues. And so I'm going to share a cute little story about the Haunted Mansion before I move on. As I said, the Haunted Mansion, I've been going to Disneyland and Disney World since I was very small. We went every year when we visited LA and my family there. I've been to the Disney World in California. So I have so many memories, so many stories, watching us duck down when the hitchhiker is the same as you guys. You get to that point and you're just like, oh my God, no, is it there, Mommy? Tell me, is it there? But when I took my sons, and they were pretty small, maybe 4 and 6, to the Haunted Mansion in Florida. We went, and I was so excited because I'm like sharing this great ride. We stood in line and we got in there. And as soon as we got into the elevator part and the things start stretching and the spooky thing, both of them just were horrified, terrified. And I was with the older one holding his hand. He was probably 6. The 4-year-old was being held by my ex-husband, picked him up and held him. And I knew he was the one who was going to be terrified. My older one was a little bit more rational. He was into Jurassic Park. He could take it. So I knew he was okay. The little one, I went over to him and I said, you're going to be okay. This is just a ride. And he was like absolutely freaked out. And my other one was like, is this real, Mommy? Is this real? The younger one passed out and fell asleep by the time the elevator left. It was so scared. He was out cold for the rest of the ride, just absolutely fell asleep and was done. And then the 6-year-old, I had to he was so scared. He was clinging to me. I had to talk to him through the whole ride. This is not real. See, there's electric wires over there and there's cameras. And everybody that was in front of me and behind me was so angry because I was ruining the ride.
Yes.
But he was so scared. He was so scared that I had to show him that this actually wasn't real. It's just Imagineering. It's just fun. So I don't think that was the last time I was on the ride, but that was one of the more memorable of trying to get my 2 little boys through the Haunted Mansion, who were
there's probably a picture of you at the front of the ride now saying, don't let this woman on the ride.
Yeah. That's probably true because I ruined it for everybody around me. Hey, see how they do that? This is how they do it. It's not real. These are not real ghosts. You want to see a real ghost? Let's go back home. No, that was one of the more memorable things. And my poor little one, he was terrified of things like that for years later. He could not take any of that stuff. He wound up crying after the Harry Potter ride we went through, and I had to pull him off that ride, bawling his eyes out. So yeah, I should have thought better, but whatever. They're grown and they're doing their own thing, so they survived it. They survived the Haunted Mansion, as did Gonzo.
Thank you.
Oh, there it is, the hitchhiker.
Hitchhikers. That's beautiful.
I loved it. I loved the ride.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you, everyone. Does anybody have any? I'm so sorry that I didn't see it, but I feel like I have now. Does anybody have any quotes? Do we have anybody doing Courtney this evening?
Jason.
I'm not going to do an impression, but I rounded up the quotes.
Good. So many good quotes, Jason.
This is a funny movie, and it has some really good one-liners in it. It really does.
Mm-hmm.
So here's some of the ones from the film. Don't you have anything better to do than boo me? We're ghosts. Yeah, booing comes with the territory. My favorite might have been a pig dancing with a turkey. What are you doing for Thanksgiving? The pig says. Some of my ghoul friends are having me for dinner. That's the turkey. Awkward. And that's the pig. What happens if you don't pay your exorcism bill? You get repossessed. Shaka waka.
Oh God.
And no flash pictures, please. The spirits are frightfully sensitive to bright lights. Let's see. Don't worry. We don't have to do that one. I always liked Bunsen, Honeydew, and Beaker.
Mhm.
So I had so hoped we'd have a bigger cameo, Beaky. Meep, meep. Budget. That's it. That's there. Pepe calls John Stamos your John Stansmos. And he also talks about Brad Pitt, but he calls him Brad Pitts. So I think that's fun. 6 times the charm, they say. They being Henry VIII. Gee, no one says goodbye here. They just ghost you. Oh, I get it. What's the matter with you? You can't say that. This is a family show. But she loves me. She calls me Jumbo. So there you go. There's some quotes from the movie. But yeah, the jokes are pretty funny. There's times if you're really paying attention, you might laugh out loud. Those were some of them. There's me on the cover of Muppet Magazine. When I was a child, I used to get mistaken for Ricky Schroeder with frequency. And this lasted until I was in college. And people would come up to me and they would go, "Are you that kid from that show?" And I'd be like, "Yes. I was on Silver Spoons and now I'm going to Southeast Missouri State University. That was totally me. I've hit rock bottom." But yeah, but we did look quite alike when I was younger.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for that. Now, continue. That was a fine Courtney, even you weren't doing Courtney. Do you have your Mankey mini? Well,
Yeah, this is the whole last 10-minute takeover.
this is the Jason show. It's okay. It's okay. It's good. You're making up for all my lost time.
Or if you don't want to do it, I'll impersonate you, Jason.
I'm sure. Yeah. I've written 10 books. If you missed the show last week, I wasn't on, and Richard-Lael did an impression of me, and he kept saying that how I mentioned that I've written 10 books, and it's stuck with me. So now it's kind of a running joke, and it is really funny. I loved it. I like being made fun of. Okay,
I was making fun of you.
I don't say it that much though.
Well, how
Anyway,
many times have you said you wrote 10 books this episode? I think 10 times.
97 tonight, I think. We're just actually going to rename the episode Jason Wrote 10 Books. I think that's what we're going to call it.
Yeah. Maybe the whole podcast.
Yeah. Plus, I edited an anthology, so, almost 11. All right.
Or a t-shirt quote.
All right. Here's the other thing. So when I do these little Mankey moment things, they are very raw and unfiltered. I like to be honest with everybody. I have slagged on films that nearly everyone loves, especially in this coven, and I do it with no fear. For example, I'm not wild about The Princess Bride and admitted as much. I nearly fell asleep through the long slog that is the middle third of Wicked and dealt with the rest of the coven's absolute horror that I could possibly say such a thing. American Horror Story Coven is not the witchcraft masterpiece people think it is. Instead, it's an absolute mess of a television show whose good ideas are lost in a sea of bad writing and quickly forgotten plot points. Hereditary is neither frightening nor smart, and I absolutely hate it. Beloved classics such as Hocus Pocus and next week's Practical Magic have serious script problems that most people overlook simply so they can say, "Oh, Bette Midler," and "Look, there's Nicole Kidman, the woman from the AMC commercials." Despite my commitment to truth, justice, and the witchcraft way, there are lines, though, that I just won't cross, and one of those lines is going after the Muppets. I love the Muppets. I love every incarnation of the Muppets. I have watched the Muppets on TV, capturing bits of Sesame Street on rabbit ear antennas. I have watched the greatest Christmas special of all time, Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas, on a fledgling technology now mostly forgotten, known as cable TV. I saw the original Muppet movie at a drive-in movie theater and even spent time with the Muppets when they were magically transformed into cartoon babies in the mid-'80s. I even read the short-lived Muppet magazine for a time. As an adult, I stuck with the Muppets at the multiplex despite lessening returns. I will never abandon the felt overlords of my heart, nor will I make fun of them. Such is my commitment to them. Sure, the Muppets can be perplexing at times. Scooter's sister Skeeter was a key cog in the world that was Muppet Babies, yet no one has mentioned her since that show. What happened to Skeeter? Was she abducted? Was there a tragic accident at the daycare? Why the silence? Release the Skeeter files now. But even that irritant will not lead me down a road that encourages making fun of the Muppets. What would a child of Miss Piggy and Kermit the Frog look like? I choose not to contemplate such horrors. Instead, I revel in the joy that comes from watching creatures made of felt sing, dance, tell corny jokes, and interact with human beings. In a world of too much AI and CGI, the Muppets are a throwback to human ingenuity and, for me personally, my childhood. May they live forever. Blessed be, O sacred Muppets.
Blessed be.
Yay.
And Jim Henson was a great person who was very innovative with his spirituality, which you see in Dark Crystal. And I actually asked his brother Brian that at a Dragon Con, and specifically about that. And he's very innovative and very open-minded, which reflects a lot of what we see in witchcraft and paganism. So yes, blessed be.
That was one of your sweetest ever, Jason. That is so sweet.
Babies.
There are moments. There are moments of sweetness.
There are moments.
Mixed with all
Okay.
of the causticness.
So now we want you guys in the chat room, because you've been very active and we appreciate that. Wands up or wands down?
Where's
Muppets
my
Haunted
wand?
Mansion.
I can't believe you make me have to vote on this one.
It's always a question with you, Richard-Lael.
You never know where he's gonna go. Like
No,
he
you
can
never
trash
know.
the movie the whole time, and then it's like, wands up. It's a mystery.
You know what? I have to say, when I was a kid, I had the biggest crush on both Miss Piggy and Kermit. And the fact that, I'm going to put it ones up, the fact that they were both in drag for this film, I mean,
It's nice.
Wands up.
It's not the first time they've done drag.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Both Piggy was dressed as Kermit was dressed as Piggy. Are you kidding me? It's like the best world. It's like everything that I wanted when I was a kid. I wanted to date Miss Piggy, but I also was in love with Kermit.
Oh, so we've got, looks like almost every up, almost up. Jason, you're not all the way up, but you're so close to it,
I'm
right?
so close. So close. I just need a little Muppet Viagra and I could get there. But it's not their strongest outing, but it's not a bad outing.
And
It's
so,
not Muppet Treasure Island.
and so Scarlett, even though it had no plot line, you've got enough.
You know what? I think for the nostalgia and the funness, I can see it. Yeah, I think it would have been a big wands up had it had a better plot, but it's fine for what it was.
Okay, so
Nothing could be the Muppet movie. Nothing is going to be as good as the Muppet movie. Sorry.
Yeah,
That's
that's true. Absolutely.
so we've got Colin wands up, and Mickey wands up, and Oceana's up. Wands halfway up from Kevin. Wand up for the Muppets. Wands up. Mega was this wand Viagra. Never heard of it.
BJ and the Bear.
BJ and the Bear. So we have a pretty almost unanimous. I'm not voting because I didn't watch it. I brought my cord, plugs up, plugs down, but I didn't see it.
But Courtney watched it, and she already voted, and she said it was up. So because Courtney voted up, I'm going to counterbalance hers and point mine down.
So his up wand has gone down. So what are we watching next week, everybody? Oh, wait.
You say Patti Negri.
It's my birthday week. We are watching Practical Magic. And yes, maybe it had some flaws here and there, Jason Mankey, just one or two. And yes, you've probably all seen it several times.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, it is my birthday movie. And yes, there's a new one coming out. So it is time for all of us to watch the original. So everybody watch Practical Magic and come back and help me celebrate my birthday next week. I will be awake. I will be alive. I apologize. I went from the biggest, amazing, insane, middle of nowhere, Rock Island, Illinois weekend where I vended all day and then did investigations filming all night. And then I would vend all day the next day and did midnight till 2 a.m. seance. And then I got up at 3 a.m. to fly. And then I came home to pack my house up. And I don't usually get into my personal woes, but I'm woeful. I'm woeful. So I will be alive next week. Happy birthday, Patti, just in case I don't make it. Thank you, Kelvin. In case I don't make it through, never have your house termite tinted when you live in it and you haven't taken anything out of the house in 20 years. Just saying. Just saying.
Are you going to do midnight margaritas next week?
Yeah. Yes.
We could.
We have to. Please, 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 for my birthday, all I want is midnight margaritas.
Okay. You got it. Just for you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for that, Scarlett. Okay, so Practical Magic. I don't even know what year that film is from.
1999.
99. Okay.
Oh, and we're going to party like it's
1999.
All right. Does anybody have anything coming up that they want to talk about? We have a couple minutes left. Thank you, Ryan. Remember to breathe. Oh God, I can't.
Sure, I will go. I'm going to be at Conjuration in Atlanta. It's a pop culture mixed magic sort of conference. And I'm going to be there along with a couple of my authors, which is going to be really fun. We're doing workshops on the elements, haunted dolls, and puppets. So we're going to be doing that. Yes, and I will have your book with me to show it off, Patti. Don't worry. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun because it's a little different than talking in front of or doing presentations for other witches. This one is for mostly people who are interested in movies and pop culture that have to do with magic, but they're always fascinated and they love having witches come. So I will be doing that. That's early November, and that is all I have. I know I'm doing a Wicca workshop soon too, but I'll have more information as that comes up.
Thank you. Jason. Oh, who was talking first? Sorry.
I'm not doing anything until November. I'm just going to be home celebrating Samhain, but I'll be in Vegas the weekend before Thanksgiving for an event there. And embarrassingly, the name escapes me. I didn't have time to look it up. I was on the spot.
Thank you. Scarlett.
I'm going to be hosting the real life scary stories at the Crooked Path on the 18th, which is going to be a lot of fun. We've got actual practitioners telling their most terrifying stories. And I think we're also partnering with Tell Me Your Ghost Story podcast. So I'm looking forward to that. I've actually read through the stories and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to set it all very dramatically and all the dramatic lighting. You know, and that store is so haunted. So I think it's going to be a really fun night. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, that sounds fabulous. I will be there in spirit because I will be in Kentucky. But Richard-Lael.
I am the Gentleman Psychic, where all gentlemen psychics are sold all across the medias and socials. I will be hosting, it was moved from the 10th until the 2nd of November. So I will be hosting a tea and seance here in my home. You can message me for details. Anyway, other than that, I'll be doing seances as well. You can come to my home and get readings. I'm here in New Orleans. That's kind of it.
Thank you. Tabitha?
Yeah, you can find me on the Book of Faces. I'm going to be hanging out at home. And if you want a private reading, you can find me at Tabitha Meadows at travelerslight.life.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
If I survive, this weekend I'm actually doing a seance at the Levy House in Oxnard, California. Super haunted, super cool old Victorian-ish house in the beach city of Oxnard, California. I think it is sold out though. But next week I'm going to be at Scarefest in Kentucky, doing a gallery read with my friend Rob Thompson, and we work really great together. He's from Ghost Finders, which we've done a few episodes together. And then I'm just on the road. We've got New Orleans, which I will see you at too, as well, Richard-Lael, for the Vampire Ball. And I have 2 book signings. I am so excited now. I have 2 book signings for Dollcraft in New Orleans. One on the 30th at Bloody Mary, my friend Bloody Mary shop. Thank you, Heather. I'm the worst marketer. So yes, I'm going to be on the 30th, and we're going to do a ritual. We're going to do book signing and ritual and talk about haunted dolls a wee bit. And on Halloween Day itself, we are doing a quiet event with Ghost City Tours at their office. They're bringing in tarot readers. They're going to have like a candy apothecary to make your own like candy potions and things and all sorts of fun stuff. So you guys go to pattinegri.com, find me, because I'm everywhere and I'm excited. And thank you for putting up with me this week. And I thank my beautiful coven for carrying me when I am not there. I am not there. And I love you all very much. So come back next week because it's practical magic.
We love you, Patty.
We love you too.
You. I'm going to go to sleep now. I'm going to take a jacuzzi and go to sleep. We have one more thing to do. It is after 7. We have gone late, but we have one more thing to do because we are witches. 1, 2, 3.